Welcome, my fellow golf ball addicts. It is the moment we have been waiting for some time. We have, of course, the beginning to the top 100 golf balls I've ever tested. Just so you know, that number is 100 golf balls exact that I've tested. I've always said that once I got to 100, I was going to count them all down. This has been something that's been in plan for a few months, and we're finally here. Now, first of all, I'd like to say that if you haven't watched the layout video I've done for this, I'll put it in the description. It's not very long. You only have to watch it for 2 or 3 minutes, but basically it just describes what I'm ranking these golf balls based on, such as average swing speed, such as, like the categories I put them into: performance, value, durability, design, all that kind of stuff. So just make sure you watch that video at least for a couple minutes so you know. I don't want to get a ton of comments on here that's essentially like, oh, I can't believe you ranked this ball with it, and you just look silly because you didn't read what it's about. So go check that out if you haven't. Once you watch it once, you'll be able to watch any of the videos. So it only takes 2 or 3 minutes, like I said. So let's go ahead and dive right in. We're starting, of course, with the worst golf ball I've ever tested. And that honor, of course, goes to the Wilson Ultra 500. So this was a golf ball that when I tested it, I knew immediately that it was just awful, period. I mean, there's actually not too many golf balls on the channel that I actually will verbally abuse, I guess is the right word. I mean, just flat out go off on, really heavily criticize. But there's no mistake in it. That Ultra 500 was terrible. It had absolutely abysmal performance. Now, value wasn't too bad. They're actually really cheap, but considering the performance is so bad and considering the numbers are so bad, it really just doesn't hold up, and there's really no reason to get it. Wilson makes so many great golf balls via the Tour Velocity, the Zip, their Tour balls are great, the Duo, Soft Plus, the Duo Optics. They have so many great golf balls. I've heard the Chaos is good. There's no point in using a golf ball like this one if it's that bad, and it just was. It felt like a rock. It felt like the old Top Flights back in the day. So by far, it is the worst golf ball I've ever tested. Number 99, the Big Crusher. Okay, so this was one of those golf balls I did not that long ago, and essentially what I did was I actually got a trial pack. It's genius marketing. A lot of these direct-to-consumer golf balls do it, but they say, hey, you for $3, or $5, you can get a sleeve of golf balls, shipping included, or just pay for shipping, whatever, and you get the sleeve of them and try them. I've done that with a couple companies. So I actually got an advertisement for a company called Big Golf, and they had a Crusher golf ball model, and I really wasn't crazy about the name, but I thought, hey, if you can try a golf ball for real cheap, why not? Well, now I understand why they're trying to give them away, basically, because when I got that golf ball, it felt extremely heavy, it felt extremely dead off the club, the numbers were absolutely horrific, and really what hurt this ball a lot was its okay, mediocre durability, but also the value. It's extremely expensive for a two-piece distance golf ball. It's one of the worst values on the market, and that actually pushed it down a ton. So honestly, it probably should have been the worst golf ball I've ever reviewed, but the Wilson 500 was so bad that it was actually just somehow worse. So really weird there, but yeah, the Big Crusher is another one that unfortunately I think here in about a year we won't even see it on the market anymore. Number 98, the Volvic XT Soft. So I was pretty excited to try a Volvic golf ball for the first time, mainly because I had seen them on the long drive competition. Kyle Berkshire had won, a championship with them. I was just excited because it was one of those niche things where when I talked to people who did like Volvic, it was one of those underground things where they were like, hey, it's actually really good, but it's just no one knows about it, It's like a secret club. But then I finally got a hold of one. I tried it out and didn't like it. And then after I posted the review, I realized that a lot of people didn't like it either. A lot of people who had tried one in the past didn't really care for it either, and that niche underground group might be just weirdos. I don't know, and no offense if you do like it, but it might just be people who have a very specific liking for that golf ball, because to be honest with you, it had some of the worst performance numbers I've ever had on the channel. Honestly, the value isn't too great either. They're not easy to get a hold of. Really, honestly, there was nothing pulling for the golf ball, and after kind of looking at it just on the paper and seeing what it is, I'm surprised this golf ball wasn't lower. I mean, I know it's 98 out of 100, but I'm surprised that actually there were 2 worst golf balls based on the numbers alone. So the durability probably helped it out a little, but other than that, it didn't have a lot going for it. Number 97, Clear Black. I really wanted to like the clear black. I liked, you know, the logo of it. I liked the idea of it. It was from a former PGA player. And I do like a traditional feeling for piece, firmer golf ball. They always don't perform the best, but I don't know. I have a soft spot for them. It kind of just reminds me of the old days. I really enjoy them, especially if they perform. Around the green, I was able to get some of that old piece, firm style. It was able to stop quickly. It was able to grip the green. It kind of felt clicky, which I kind of like a little bit, just a little bit. But where it really fell flat was it just didn't pop off the clubs. I had horrendous numbers with it. I think the driver was really the only thing that was kind of okay. And then not only that, but then you're talking a terrible value. These are actually more than Pro V1s. They are actually more expensive than Pro V1s. They run almost $60 a dozen. And again, it kind of misses the point of direct to consumer. Why on earth would anybody buy a clear golf ball for $60 a dozen when Pro V1s, which are very, very highly priced, are about $10 cheaper a dozen? It doesn't really make any sense. And you can just go to your local Walmart or your local Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy, PGA, you name it, and you can just pick some up. So why on earth would you special order a more expensive, unknown direct-to-consumer golf ball? Really, I thought it just missed the mark, and unfortunately, it comes in really low. Number 96. Zexio 11. This golf ball I reviewed a long time ago, and I'll be honest with you, the moment I hit it, I knew something was off. Now, first of all, it is soft, it is squishy, and it does have some spring off the club. That's the good news. But unfortunately, the ball flight I noticed was really weird. The first thing I noticed is just how high the golf ball went up into the air. By far the highest launch I've ever gotten with a 9-iron. And it was just kind of silly. It spun so much. It went so high in the air. I lost distance. Even with the driver, it spun way too much. Honestly, it was just such a weird performing golf ball. There's no way I could really ever trust it. Plus, again, you're getting into a really expensive Pro V type of price point, which, I mean, there are some really niche underground Zexio 11 enthusiasts. I know over in Japan it's a really big deal. But I'm just not convinced. Again, why would I not buy something like, you know, the TaylorMade TP5 or the Pro V1? If I was a tour golf ball player, if I was going to spend $50 a dozen, why would I not buy one of the big brands, well known, instead of going with Zexio for $50? It just doesn't make a lot of sense, and unfortunately, it wasn't that good, so it gets a pretty bottom spot. Number 95, Union Green Pin Drop. So another golf ball that I tested pretty recently. So Union Green is an apparent company of Titleist, Acushnet. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, but I know it's a company like that basically. They own Pinnacle. They own now Union Green, which I think is on its way out, but we'll get to more on that in a second. And then of course Titleist. These balls actually come out of a Titleist plant, and the whole idea is this is their direct-to-consumer line. This is their, you know, guys who wear their shirts untucked and drink beers and, you know, use beer cans as a tee, you know, that kind of thing. That's what the golf ball was kind of intended for. I was actually sent them to play, but really it just, again, really firm, really dead off the club, not a great sound, not appeasing to the ear. And then when you looked at the stat numbers, it was the same way. And then the value wasn't that great. A lot of these direct-to-consumer companies just miss the idea that a direct-to-consumer golf ball is supposed to be cheaper and more value than some of the other ones on the market. And so, for example, they had a three-piece, the Pin Drop is a three-piece value golf ball. Well, for the same price, I could go get the Strixon Q-Star Tour, which is going to be a lot higher on this list. You'll see it later, but much later, if you know what I mean. So, again, why would I do that? Why would I invest in a company I know nothing about instead of just, hey, honey, we're at Walmart shopping for groceries. Oh, I need some more Q-Stars. It's just a convenience factor, a performance factor, a durability factor. It makes no sense. So, unfortunately, I wasn't that impressed. And like I said before, I think they're on their way out. Their social media is starting to slow down. I'm not seeing the advertisements as much. It seems like it's not doing that well. And unfortunately, when it comes to having a golf ball company, your golf balls have to be good. Otherwise, the company doesn't work. That's pretty good. If you own a restaurant, the food's crappy, it ain't gonna last. Number 94, the Kirkland Signature version 3. So I actually in 2023 reviewed two Kirkland golf balls, the Kirkland V2 and the Kirkland V3. And when I tried the V2 out, it was okay. There was a lot of room for improvement, but I understand what they were trying to do, and it had one of the best values on the market. And you'll see the V2 at some point in this list higher up. However, when they came out with the V3 this year, I was extremely disappointed, like a lot of other golfers, because yes, the value is incredible. I know it's amazing that you can lose a few of them and not have to worry about the money, and it's a urethane golf ball for so cheap. But here's the reality. They tried to model it after a Pro V1. They tried to make it more firm, tour golf ball like, which just resulted in a worse feel, more dead off the club, and way worse numbers. I mean, by far, if you look at some of these numbers, it was way worse. I actually did a video comparing it to the V2 in my review of the V3, and you could see such substantial differences. They really made it for fast swingers only, meaning that if you're swinging under 105, the V3 probably isn't much use to you, unfortunately, and so that's why it gets a really big bottom spot. Number 93, the Quantix F18. I think I've always had a soft spot for Quantix because it was like one of the first golf balls I reviewed on the channel. It was the MaxFly and the Quantix were the two first I tested. Quantix, of course, is one of those direct-to-consumer lines we love so much, based out of Texas. They basically have a golf ball designer on their team that used to work for MaxFly. And when I tested the original ones back way in August of 2023, it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. I mean, I wasn't able to do a numbers test. I didn't have a launch monitor at that point, but I was able to get out on the course and play with them, and I enjoyed them. I liked the look of them. It was different. It was unique, kind of sciencey a little bit. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the price as well because they had them for $30 a dozen, but that included shipping. And so for a three-piece, urethane golf ball, you couldn't beat that. But here we are a few years later with a new model that came out. I tested these new models, and I gotta be honest with you, I was just so disappointed. It was awful. It's, again, more, I don't know why companies are doing this, but more rock-like, more dead, just no spring off the club. I think that maybe these golf balls are intended for a little faster swing speeds, but I hate when golf ball companies do that. Quantix only makes two golf balls, an F35 Tour and an F18. This one and the other one, the F35, are both essentially what it feels like meant for really fast swing speeds, which means, what about the rest of us? What about, the people who swing 85 or 90 or 95? Is there a golf ball for us? So it just, I think, really limits your market. Number 92, Top Flight Hammer Distance. I mean, here's the thing. You're going to see a lot of top flights on this list, and, you're going to see some really low in the 90s like we are right now. You'll see a couple up in the maybe 50s or 60s, and who knows, you might even see one in the top 35, 30. They're just so spread out. I honestly am not sure what's going on here because Dick's Sporting Goods essentially does own Top Flight. They also own MaxFly, but their MaxFly line is doing so well that I think what they're doing is they're essentially creating this big gap here, and they're saying, hey, MaxFly is going to be our golfer's golf ball. We're going to come out with the Tour. We're going to come out with the Straight Fly. These are for golfers. And then you have the Top Flights, which I think they're pushing in a way of, hey, you're going to be drunk as hell anyway. You're not going to be able to drive the cart. You're going to lose 15 golf balls. So it doesn't matter how they perform. Psh, Top Flight. But here's the problem, is that you have so many different lines, and I hope they do come out with, I think they're getting ready to do a revamp for 2024, so that'll be interesting to see. But essentially, they have so many. They have the Top Flight Bomb, they have the Top Flight Hammer Distance, Hammer Control, the Gamer, the XL Distance, and just so many different golf balls that really all acted like they wanted to do the same thing, but by far, there was none worse than this one, which of course being the Hammer Distance. Yes, is it a good value? Of course it is. You can get these golf balls dirt cheap, but the performance was awful, the durability was awful, the design is awful. I mean, it looks cheap, it looks bad, it looks embarrassing. I mean, I like what Top Flight's done with their revamp and their new logo, but the way the golf ball looks, it just looks cartoony almost. It looks like I wouldn't take it seriously, and it performs like I wouldn't take it seriously, so it's a double whammy. So hopefully Top Flight does better with some of their other golf balls, but that's by far the worst one I've tested out of the bunch. Number 91, Mizuno 566V. Now this one hurts because I have a soft spot for Mizuno. When I was a baseball guy, I was a Mizuno guy. I have Mizuno clubs, I'm a Mizuno driver. I really like, I have a Mizuno golf bag, I have it all. I really love Mizuno, but this golf ball is dookie. I mean, there's just no way around it, it's bad. You'll see the other golf balls on this list as well. You'll see, the Tour X, the 566, which I've had a lot more success with, but there's just something about that middle ground ball of the 566V, the three-piece model in the middle. I don't know, the performance wasn't good, the value isn't really in the right place, the price point isn't great, I don't like the design of it really. It's not as unique as the just regular RB 566V, and it also doesn't have that same, black, Tour level finish. I don't know, it's just right in the middle. I just don't really like anything about it. I don't like its performance, and that's how the score came up essentially. And it didn't have that great a durability either. When I was done, it was extremely scuffed up, which I didn't have that with the other Mizuno balls. So there was just something about this one. Now I haven't tested the newer versions. Hopefully the newer versions are a little bit better, because to be honest with you, I don't know if they could have gotten too much worse. Number 90, Wilson 50. Again, you know, Wilson's really interesting because you'll see Wilson at the top of this list and you'll see him all throughout the middle and you'll see him at the bottom. They just make so many different golf balls that they're not all winners and they're not all losers, you know, so they just kind of fit there. But the Wilson 50 was another one that honestly, I'm not sure if it was too soft and it was just, I was over compressing the heck out of it and it just wasn't wanting to really go, if you know what I mean. It just wasn't wanting to spring off the club. But I just had abysmal numbers with it. I really did. I mean, of course, the value is going to be there because you can get them for around $1 golf ball. But everything else, from the design to the durability to the performance numbers, is just meh. And when you got 100 golf balls in the pot, it's just going to fall to the bottom. That's all there is to it. And so this wraps up our 100 through 90. Guys, be on the lookout in a couple of days because we will have 89 through 80. As always, keep watching to keep saving and keep learning. Until next time.